In this issue of The Jump, titled Poems and Monuments, we showcase 5 projects that take us into both new and familiar waters. The projects themselves span from the poetic to the monumental, in both production and content, and open a variety of things for us to consider in the practices available in digital media production. The first project, The Shadow of Turning by Hannah Charlton of Whitworth University, is an interesting project for us to include because it is a visual text. That is, it's a multimodal expression that uses text and image to create its meaning, i.e. it's a comic. The project, which is an adaptation of a poem by Hannah Hall, who is a fellow undergraduate who wrote this poem a few years earlier, is presented here to readers as both a PDF and in an online format via the Wix platform. The latter, of course, provides viewers the ability to see the page and panels side by side, which adds a richness to the project, not available in the static PDF form. The poem and the visualizations combined help us come to understand or experience the issues of identity, gender, religion, and worldviews that Hall was struggling with after her first semester of college when she wrote this poem, and which resonated with Charlton as she worked to create a visual and emotional space that stayed faithful to Hall's work. The second project is a digital story titled Ever After by Mia Saunders of High Point University. This project is poetic in its intensity and uses sound and image as a fundamental component of its narrative development. Further, the project shows some of the potential impact of repetition and difference, using slight changes in focus, position, movement, and coloration to add depth and a real richness to the narrative experience. The third project, a video remediation titled Loneliness by Elizabeth Doherty, Mary Faulkner, and Morgan Robinson of Clemson University, takes Catherine Mansfield's poem as its backbone. Then, using select visuals, the art of juxtaposition, the act of narration, and both illustrative and non-illustrative imagery, the artist creates something new out of the poem. That newness reflects their engagement with the poem and seems more about their experiencing and envisioning of the poem as readers than Mansfield's position as author. This project also offers us an interesting split in terms of the responses that accompany the project. One response embraces the nuances within the project that extend Mansfield's poem, while the other challenges the nature of the assignment and the intention of the project itself. In so doing, the latter raises questions about the relationship between poetry and argumentation and video, and I think these issues are important for us to consider when including these kinds of projects in our courses. The fourth project is a My Story created by Cecilia Jones of Clemson University. There is something poetic in the revelations that emerge across Jones's different discourse areas and different discourse identities, which is not only part of the My Story genre, but which Jones does fairly conscientiously. In getting to know and understand Jones through her My Story, readers may find themselves turning an insightful eye toward their own situations, their own discourse areas, their own potential emblems, and what those things mean for their lives, their careers, and their families. The fifth and final project in this issue is a digital monument by Tanya Patel of the University of Texas at Austin. Patel's monument embraces the idea of writing the paradigm and uses the technological focus of its monumentalization not only as content, but as an interactive visual metaphor, guiding the site engagement. Patel asks us to think about texting while driving and urges us to sign a pledge to not do so. To this end, one of the respondents, Cynthia Haynes, takes Patel up on this pledge and provides us with a different kind of response. Altogether, these projects provide a number of avenues for engagement, both in terms of their scholarship and in terms of their pedagogical value. And while many of them are really excellently done, some prove to be extremely valuable because of their ability to exist as a high-level project while still retaining some of their rough edges, some of their exposed moments, some of their developing qualities. This, to me, is where a resource like The Jump begins to shine, when good projects open avenues for discussion in terms of their content, their production, and their possibilities.